Here at The Rock, Dima Mixon with Pine Belt News, Glyn Dyar, 247 Sports. We're back. We took the week off. We didn't do a video last week, Glyn. Do you think people missed us?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so. If you have like,
Or
if
an
you have a
afterthought.
problem, like that, I didn't see Dima and Glyn's video today. There are a lot better things you could probably be watching. So thank you for watching our videos on the field. We know
Yeah, we do
somebody.
appreciate it.
We know people inside the Duff watch them.
Yes. Yeah.
No, that's just a joke. But anyways, big game on Thursday. Southern Miss on the road at Georgia Southern. 7 p.m. kickoff, I think, on ESPN2. Southern Miss is a 3-point road favorite. You know, Glyn, coming into the season, I really penciled out this game, and I thought that this would be really tough for Southern Miss. I really liked what Georgia Southern had coming into the season. You know, they had a lot back. They seemed to be Clay Helton's probably their best roster that he's had. They were only a game behind Marshall last season to get to the Sun Belt Championship game. They actually beat Marshall last year. So Marshall was up 23-0, I think, and Georgia just came roaring back.
Yeah.
They won by 1 point. Braylon Braxton played in that game, which we'll get into in a minute. But I really thought this was the year for Georgia Southern, and Glenn, they haven't been great. They, obviously when you play like USC and Fresno State like they have been,
tough.
like Southern Miss isn't going to beat them, so I can't say much. But like, they didn't look great against James Madison last week. They didn't look great against Jacksonville State, a common opponent. They really haven't looked great, and so that's why I think everybody has a kind of different view on this game.
Well, defensively, they've had some injuries up front. They lost their best linebacker, who was the defensive player of the year last year in the Sun Belt. He's at Nebraska now and is their starting linebacker, so that's a big piece there. They do play very well at home, and I guess the storyline here is Southern Miss has got to go win a game on the road. We talked to Coach Huff about that, about preparing for the road game, and he said he didn't feel like they really prepared the right way for La Tech, and I think it's lesson learned. And he said this week they've had some of their best practices leading up to this game. So, and he said a lot of these guys hadn't even won a road game in a Southern Miss uniform. So, it's time to put up or shut up.
Does this surprise you just at the lack of, I don't want to say like, I'm not going to say that Georgia Southern isn't good, but I think that they're not as good as we thought. I think you could say that about the whole Sun Belt, though.
Yeah, with the exception of the surprise ODU. And
Right,
James
ODU.
Madison's still James Madison, man. Their tough defenses.
James Dan Madison, as we say.
Yeah. Oh, their defense is off the charts, man.
Yeah. But does it surprise you? I mean, Georgia Southern, I think both of us said coming into the season that would be a tough game.
Yeah, I think, we always do our fun little game where we pick wins and losses way before the season, and we all picked that as a loss.
Right.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And no, I think I feel a lot better about this game than I felt, 6 weeks ago.
Yes. The availability report came out for the Southern Miss, looking like Blake Buster probably not going to be available. We saw him in kind of a leg brace after that Jacksonville State game. That is a big piece. I think that if I don't necessarily know if they'll need him for Georgia Southern, but they're going to need him down the road.
Yeah, and it's an injury that affects two positions, because your left guard, Nunnery, has to move out to left tackle, and then you're rolling in another guard. So that left side feels the effects of that one guy.
Yes, and so that's something to watch.
And prayers up that he heals quickly and he's back in the black and gold soon.
For sure. So that's a big piece, big storyline to watch. But obviously the other big storyline is what Glenn just mentioned, the team's ability to win on the road. When they went out to Louisiana Tech, I was there in Ruston. I mean, it was like, what is this team? It didn't even look like the team that we saw play Appalachian State the week before, and then the team that we saw play Jacksonville State. It's crazy, Glenn, to think that we're in week 6 of the season and they've only played one road game. And this is another environment. It's very hard to win at Georgia Southern. They historically play very well at home. It's a Thursday night primetime game. So there's a lot of different factors in this game that could make it a little bit more difficult. But I think when you look at Georgia Southern's defense, 33rd out of 134 teams, total yards per game allowed. I think Southern Miss will be able to move the ball almost at will against this Georgia Southern team. Braylon Braxton, quarterback for Southern Miss, last season at Marshall, that was when they were kind of still learning that 2-quarterback system.
Right.
He did not start that game. They were kind of running, the one guy out there, then they bring Braylon out. So it was kind of weird. And I think it was really after that game, Glenn, that they started saying, Braylon's our guy, and then they just went off.
Yeah, and Coach Huff also intimated that was kind of the game that got them going, because I think they were up about 21 points in the fourth quarter.
It was 23-3.
Yeah, ended up losing. And I think, another storyline here is some of that may have been, Braylon made some very costly mistakes in that game. But I'm guessing he goes into this game with a little chip on his shoulder. And I think it's big, too, that he's been there.
I was about to say that, and something that I asked Coach Huff, and he said that definitely plays a part. He said one thing about Louisiana Tech, was that really nobody on the staff had even been there outside of maybe a couple of players, but nobody had really ever been there. This is a whole lot different. A lot of, they brought a lot of Marshall guys, they brought a lot of other pieces. A lot of people on the team have been to Georgia Southern, experienced that atmosphere. Last season they played a night game. They'll be playing a night game tomorrow. Do you buy that? Do you think that does play a part into it?
Yeah, I mean, I think familiarity is huge. I mean, playing years and years ago, you go into a place you've never been and you just sometimes get a really weird vibe. Mm-hmm. They've been there, they know what to do. And like I said before, I think Braylon goes into this game with a little chip on his shoulder. I look for him to have a big game.
And I was there at Ruston, Louisiana, and you're talking about vibe. Like, the vibe there was very weird. Like, they were doing, like, construction in the south end zone. Yeah. There was no music, like, barely any pregame music. Like, the team was just kind of like...
Didn't they set something on fire at halftime?
Yeah, the fireworks went off at halftime. There was smoke all over the field. It's a very weird environment. That was just a weird game. I think it would just take that game out. But again, I really want to see, Glyn, how this team, like, the first quarter to me is going to be huge.
Yeah, they need to start fast, start hot, and finish, put their foot down on their throat. But, that La Tech game, I think, is going to pay huge dividends if things go like I hope they go the rest of the season. I think that was a great learning experience from Coach Huff all the way down. It's trickle-down effect. And when I was talking to the guys up there, I kept bringing up preparation and how you prepared at La Tech, and is this lesson learned for y'all? And then every one of them was very stoic and quiet about, we're taking care of our business. So
right.
I think they got the message.
And something I think that next week when we talk to Coach Huff, especially if they win, it's going to be like, all right, can y'all stop asking about preparation?
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
We got it, Yeah. Because I feel like we've kind of asked that, especially in the Jacksonville State game, because it was like we need to see them prepare way better. Preparation is something that's like, I think, is like an overused term, because preparation involves so much to do. You gotta prepare well to even practice on Tuesday. You gotta prepare well to even practice on Wednesday. Something I was talking about Chris Jones was, because his arms are about the size of my belly, and I was saying, so how much calories do you actually eat? And he was like, I actually don't even know.
Yeah, but something probably like around 6,000 to 8,000 a day.
Right. And so preparation is kind of like a overarching term of everything the kids do. And I think really what happened in that Louisiana Tech game is I think they kind of thought they were just going to go in there and roll them.
Right.
And I don't think they think that about Georgia Southern.
Yeah, you can't do that in college football against anybody. I mean, all these guys got scholarships just like you.
Right.
I don't think if this season goes like I hope it will, or I think it will go, I think you'll look back at that La Tech game and see that as a big, this is when we learned this lesson and we, cohesion and really move forward as a football program and team.
Definitely. So we're going to go ahead and do our bold predictions and pick the game, because it's Tuesday currently and the game's on Thursday. So normally our picks and bold predictions will come out on Thursday, but since it's Tuesday, we're going to stand out here at the Rock and pick this game and do our bold predictions. Also, I just want to side note, it's October 7th and it's freaking hot out here.
Yeah, I'm starting to
what is
smell
going on?
Bacon cooking. I think it's my net.
It is hot out here. Like, we're ready for some cold weather. Anyways, bold predictions. Glyn, let's hear your bold prediction for Southern Miss on the road to Georgia Southern this week.
I'm going to go bold here. I mean, they're almost last in the country, if not last, in run defense. I think Southern Miss is starting to find their stride in the run game, and also the element of Braylon with his legs. I'm going to say they touched 300 yards on the ground.
300 yards on the ground?
Yeah, Thursday.
And
you kind of talked me into that a little bit.
He was going to say, I think I'm going to go 200. I was like, no, you got to go 300. He
said
bold prediction.
Bold, he said.
All right. So 300 yards on the ground. And you think that's going to be dispersed behind Pittman, Braxton?
Yeah, dispersed.
So nobody's going to have like a 200-yard game?
No, I don't think so. No, I mean, we're running back by committee anyway.
Right.
So.
All right, so here's a trivia question for you. Who's the last quarterback to throw for 400-plus yards passing?
Ooh, golly. Mullins?
Nope, it's Jack Abraham versus North Texas.
That's right.
October 12th, 2019. Who's the last quarterback with 500 yards passing?
Well, Mullins did.
Yeah, Mullins. He threw for 591 yards against Rice in 2016. Braxton's career high is 392 yards against Louisiana Tech on the road when they really didn't have a running game. I'm going to say against this defense, this is definitely the worst defense they've played. I think Jackson State's defense might even be better than Georgia Southern's. 450 yards passing for Braylon Braxton.
That is bold.
It's bold, I understand it, but I think it's doable. I think, like I said, they're going to come out in the first half, and they're going to just they're not going to be doing all this preparation crap and being like, blah blah blah, pity the walk. They're going to come out, establish the run on offense, and that's going to open up the pass. But here's also something else that I think that he could get to this number. They've shown in the past that they're not going to pull Braylon out of the game regardless of the score. Mm-hmm. I think he could still be throwing the ball in the third and fourth quarter and get to that 450 mark.
Well, see, this last part, our bowl predictions kind of are going to counteract each other because
I know.
if we run for 300 yards,
He's not
he
running
ain't
for
going to.
300.
So one of us is going to be wrong, one of us is going to be right.
Right, and it's probably going to be Glyn because he's the football expert. So,
No.
Mr. Football Expert, how about you pick us the game for us first? Southern Miss on the road to Georgia Southern. What is your game pick? 3-point favorites. I think the over/under is 60.5, off the top of my head. So don't quote me.
I got Southern Miss 31, Georgia Southern 20.
Okay, so you got Southern Miss with the points, but you're under the 60.
I'm under, yeah.
Southern, okay. So I have Southern Miss winning 38-24. So I do math. That is the over, and that's Southern Miss covering. I think if Southern Miss should win this game. I think that's like the bottom line, that their offense should be able to move the ball on Georgia Southern, and I think the defense will do just enough.
And they got a point to prove.
Right.
And this sets them up for a run too.
Right.
If they win this game, if you're a Southern Miss fan, you're going to start getting excited a little bit, start looking ahead.
Right. Because you got Louisiana the next week. They're kind of a mess.
Yeah. And then ULM here.
ULM here, and then Arkansas State I think next.
Yeah.
So, man, I mean, if you could win this game, you're 2-0 in conference. With the way the West is, Glenn, it's kind of shaping up how they want it.
If you stay healthy, you can get on a run.
Right. We will not be in Statesboro on Thursday. Kind of a too far of a trip for guys who like to eat. Because during the drive we wouldn't be able to stop. We have to get to the game.
Yeah, we would never get there.
I know. We'd be stopping in. I don't even know how to get to Statesboro. You go through Birmingham.
That's a long ride, brother. I would have just stop in Savannah and stay there.
That's right. But if you are going to Statesboro, safe travels. But if not, follow Glenn on his site, 247 Sports. He normally has a live blog running during the game. Come check him out. You can check my horrible writing out at pinebeltnews.com. Hub City Spokes. But for now, that's Glyn Dyar. I'm Dima Mixon. Thanks for watching. And we'll be back next Tuesday for kind of some post-game thoughts. We might do something after the game. I haven't decided yet for post-game reactions, whatever. But we'll let you know. But thanks for watching. For Glyn Dyar, I'm Dima Mixon. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.